And welcome back into Mining Stock Daily. Happy to be welcomed by the CEO of Pacific Empire Minerals Corp., Mr. Brad Peters. Pacific Empire trades on the TSX Venture with PEMC and also on the OTCQB with PEMSF. Brad, it's a pleasure to have you back on the show. How have you been?
I've been well. Thank you very much, Trevor. Appreciate it.
Good. We want to give just an update with all the work that's been happening with a couple of the more important projects you have in the portfolio. Let's start off with the Jean Marie project. It was noted earlier last month that you did receive those exploration permits for the Jean Marie project to mobilize those field crews and for drilling. What can you share with us and the listeners and your shareholders about what's happened at Jean Marie?
Absolutely, and thanks for the opportunity, Trevor. At the Jean Marie project, that's right, we brought in the RC drill, and we completed a total of 15 holes, focused in and around the A zone, which is the northernmost zone on the property. That particular area had seen drilling in the very early 70s, and as a consequence of that, there was very limited geochemical data. So, for example, they would have sampled for and been looking for copper molybdenum. In addition to gold, they did they did composites for gold. So so what we really wanted to do there was get our heads around the extent of the zoning and mineralization at the A zone, and then to acquire as much multi-element geochemical data as we could. Prior to that, we'd also been around the property, numerous areas, having a look at the gold potential on the property, and I think that's something that we were clearly able to demonstrate during 2020 this year. We like the gold-enriched copper systems in British Columbia, and absolutely, there's some very attractive copper grades on this property. In addition, I think what's really been a surprise to us is the extent of the silver mineralization as well. And so really what we're in the process of doing right now is taking all that data and working with OreQuest, who we brought on board as technical advisors, working with OreQuest here to really have a look at all of the geochemical data. We recently also digitized all of the historical data for the multi-element purposes of multi-element data. And then when we take that and combine that with the magnetics that we flew this year over the property, I think that's going to help give us a very clear idea here in terms of vectors towards drill targets.
Any idea when we might be able to see those drill results in from Jean Marie and report it to the market?
Yeah, I suspect those they should be in by the end of the year. I would suggest for sure. I'm kind of hoping personally myself here that we can get them in here in the next 10 days or something like that.
Okay, very good. Let's move on to the Wheaton property. Updates from Wheaton.
Absolutely. We at the Wheaton property, we attempted 3 holes. 2 were successful in hitting bedrock. The primary challenge we faced at the Wheaton property there was, for the most part, it was straight clay right from surface right to bedrock. And that can be extremely challenging. But we have a system on our drill. It's one of the things we've done is really modify the drill over the years to adapt to different drilling conditions. And so I think that really helped us get through that clay. When we did get through the clay into the bedrock, we really didn't see anything that, for us at that time warranted further follow-up drilling.
Okay, very good. Any other updates from the other properties that you wanted to make sure that you mentioned for the listeners and your shareholders here?
Well, I think most importantly, right now for us, it looks like we're going to have, we've signed an LOI with 1111 Acquisition Corp for the Pinnacle property. And we look forward here to having that definitive agreement wrapped up shortly. That's a project that's just to the north of the Jean Marie, and historical drilling on that property. There really, other than the Aplite Creek zone, which was drilled historically, the central portion and southern portions of the property were never explored until we had Oz Minerals as a partner on that project in 2014 and 15. And as a consequence of the drilling that went on with Oz, returning very interesting gold numbers over relatively wide areas. They weren't. They would be stepping out on the order of 300 to 500, 600 meters on some holes. And then the follow-up drilling by ML Gold as well, which again intersected gold as well with some copper. I think that the approach that the gentlemen are going to take with this with the Pinnacle property is probably a very similar approach to how we're going to be looking at the Jean Marie property with OreQuest, in the sense that it's going to be a very systematic, process-based approach where we're really going to look at all the data. That's what they're in the process of doing right now, and we really look forward to having the Pinnacle property explode and in 2021 here. Really with just a different set of eyes on it, and really looking forward to seeing what targets they develop and present to us.
Yeah. Along those same themes, there were some changes with the management most recently. Your friend and my friend, Roy Ritchie, who was Pacific Empire's Vice President of Exploration and a director of the company, has since left. He's on to other things. But you have found, you mentioned OreQuest a couple of times in this interview. OreQuest is George Cavey and his team. I also know that team. So, talk about this kind of, exchange from one really good geo to another really good geo or group of geos, and what it means to get a new, fresh set of eyes on some of these projects.
Oh, I think you nailed it right there. A fresh set of eyes. And really, as you know, the team at OreQuest, they are more than capable, certainly with large geochemical data sets. They've got a number of specialties, but certainly the geologists that they have on staff, I know them and I know exactly who they are, and I would suggest that the Jean Marie is the perfect project for them to have a look at first for us here. And really what we're going to be doing here is, as I said, a systematic approach to it. We're gathering all of the data that we can, and really using the full potential of multi-element geochemical data sets combined with new modern airborne magnetic data sets that we've recently acquired. And once they're able to look at once we get the data in from the most recent drilling at Jean Marie here, I think that we're going to have a very clear understanding, or at least a much better understanding, of what really is the central targets we're looking for at Jean Marie. Because what we see are areas, as you mentioned, that are copper, like some very impressive copper numbers, some very impressive gold numbers, some very interesting silver numbers, in addition to some other very interesting multi-element signatures that we're seeing. And so the real question for us is where's the gold, the silver, and the copper? Where are they all together? And that's really the focus that we're looking at here going forward.
Can you kind of walk us through what this working partnership looks like, on paper for us?
Absolutely. On a contract basis, they are technical advisors, and specifically what they're doing, what I've requested and what we've discussed is they're going to be doing systematic reviews, starting with the Jean Marie property. I suspect the next property I'd like to have them have a look at is the Copper King. And what they're going to be doing is saying, look, this is the data set that we have. In order to make an informed targeting decision, we require more data. Or they say, with the data that we have, we can go ahead and make targeting decisions, and really just providing guidance and recommendations on next steps for each individual project. And we'll start with the Jean Marie, move on to the Copper King most certainly. And I think the other one I'm really interested in having them have a look at is the Stars property. That's just to the west there. That's a property with an awful lot of drilling in it, and a very, very intriguing geophysical signature in this sort of large ring structure, which really looks to be magnetic destruction. But that's a data set again that is ideally suited for the team at OreQuest.
So you got about 6 or 7 properties within the portfolio. Through this transition, Brad, what does it look like of maybe taking a look and bringing in new properties into that portfolio as well? Is that possible?
Oh, absolutely. I'm always interested in new properties of merit. Absolutely. And, also starting to look at, maybe additional commodities such as silver. I've looked at a couple very interesting silver properties recently. So no, always have our eyes open here for additional properties. But the immediate focus at this time with OrcWest is the evaluation of our current projects, and I'm always either talking to prospectors, people that own properties. I'm always on the lookout for exceptional properties. It's just one of those things that you never know really when you're going to find them, and it does take time. So that's something that we're always engaged in constantly.
All right, Brad, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us here for that update, and look forward to catching up with you, hopefully one more time before the year has ended.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Trevor.
It's Brad Peters, CEO of Pacific Empire Minerals, which trades on the TSX Venture with PEMC and also on the OTCQB with PEMSF.